Good afternoon, everyone. It's been a great day so far at Pune International Business Summit organized by MCCIA. There is a great interaction of industries, government officials, consulate generals of different countries, and opportunities are being discussed about growth in different industrial sectors including agriculture and food industry, IT, automobiles in Maharashtra and in and around Pune. My grandfather and my grandmother started this business, Pravin Masalewale, in 1962, and we started from a household brand. And today we are in 9 states of India and 23 countries in the world, distributing our Indian traditional food products through brand Suhana, Pravin, Ambari and Tufan. The secret ingredient to success is my grandfather's, grandmother's hardship, respect for customers, constantly working for customer satisfaction, and valuing each and every relationship in the whole business ecosystem, right from farmers, suppliers, retailers, distributors, everyone in the system, our own employees and colleagues at our office. And we believe in best in and best out. That's what we have been taught by our grandparents, and we as third generation business, we want to continue all these values more religiously and spread the brand throughout the world, and finally make Indian traditional food, which is very healthy, very tasty, to make its prominent place in global food plate. Thank you so much.
This initiative by Maratha Chamber of Commerce is very laudable. In today's times, this international business is taking many dimensions, and it has to be properly brought to the notice of the members or also the non-members in city of Pune. They are from MSMEs and they don't get a chance to understand what are the nuances. Big companies have got their own area, manpower to look after this aspect. What is important is that the business to be done in different part of the world has got different kind of styles and manners in which it has to be pursued. For example, the business done in SAARC countries or nearby countries is little different than the business done in Southeast Asia or the business done in Africa or for that matter in South America. So all these things need a good penetration. For that you need good training, good preparation, and I think this kind of a summit will definitely give some background. This case study will give some background to the budding exporters. Export is one leg of international business. There are a lot of things about international tie-ups are there, collaborations are there, and jointly the foreign company and the Indian company can go together and really conquer the third countries or third world. So from that angle, this kind of networking, this kind of insights, getting the case studies is going to be useful. Happening this seminar or summit immediately on the heels of Asia Economic Conclave, which Geo-Economic Conclave which just ended yesterday, I think it gives a significance because they also emphasize the importance of foreign trade. So foreign trade is both, you import and export, and you also do the collaboration. So from that angle, also this is a very appropriate initiative of Maratha Chamber of Commerce, and I wish Chamber a very good luck. This will also bring a lot of people who are there but they are not brought their case studies, they will be brought to the forefront. I was also talking that there are a lot of companies who are created or built brand over a period of time. Those brands also should be brought in front line and be shared with, the success story has to be also shared with others. So thank you very much, and wishing this initiative great luck. Thank you.
First of all, I think it's a great conference. This international summit is, and it's going to be very useful for SME segment. My advice to the SME segment for this is that first thing is that take some small steps. Okay, don't wait for a big step. I think it's very important that to start small and to start immediate. There is nothing like you can wait for and then get a big break in international business. So you should start small. Second, trust the local partners. That's a very important thing. In fact, many times we think that when I go and work with the partners, foreigners, then you start keeping a distance from them. Trust them and give them the the due what they deserve, and you can never overcome the advantage of a son of the soil, and therefore trust the son of the soil. That's my second important thing. The third important thing is don't spread too fast to too many places, because even if you have a deep pockets, okay, the international business is full of volatility. Okay, one day the business can be good, next 3 years business can be bad. Okay, it's very, very volatile, and don't try to spread too thin even if you are very big. And if you try to spin, then sometimes it can hurt you, and that's, I think, will be the top 3 from my views.
Brief glimpse into the relations between India and Poland. Diplomatic relations established in 1954, but the consulate itself was established already in 1933, so even before World War II. So since the very beginning, this consulate was very much supportive of the investments, and I mean not investments, but mainly trade between that time Port of Bombay and Poland. It has for a short time, it changed its scope of work during World War II, when it was instrumental in enabling humanitarian assistance to Polish refugees who came to India during World War II. About 5,000 women and children ended up in Kolhapur, not far from here, and they all actually moved through Pune as they went from Bombay to Pune, and then from Pune to further south to Kolhapur and Panchgani. So we have a beautiful story that connects our two nations. As you can see here, only 3 billion trade between our countries. About 2.2 billion is Indian export to Poland, and about 800 million Polish export to India. So I mean, it's far below potential for both countries. And if you take into consideration that Poland is importing goods valued for about 300 billion or 350 billion US dollars per year, so we can see that India is making only 1.5%, not more than this. So there is a huge growth potential in that. Investments, we have about 3 billion investments from India to Poland, and mainly from ArcelorMittal into steel industry. But we have a growing investments from Indian tech and services companies like Infosys, Wipro, and Videocon LCD, which goes from more manufacturing of LCD screens. But we have also a lot of successful stories from success stories from Poland to India, and I'm also happy to tell that we have the representatives of Polish company Millennium that was, I mean, extremely successful in Poland in recent few years. They have already, I think, 9 delivery centers in Poland, but Poland became too small for them, so they came to Pune, and they already have about 150 jobs here in Pune. So two managing directors from this office are here as well. So they will be happy to share their insights on how to what was the cue for their arrival to to Pune. So this is one example. Another example is in Nashik, when actually Aurangabad, there's has 3 industrial zones, and one of these industrial zones we have 2 large Polish factories, Glasspack and Canpack. And if you look into the I'm searching for Coca-Cola can, but if you look, and there are small letters CP, and they most likely were produced here in Aurangabad, and a company that originates from Poland. Nashik and Rishab Instruments, that is another interesting story, because this company is a family-owned business. They were searching for some investment opportunities in European Union, so they naturally went to Germany. They were searching for some companies to buy there, but they realized that actually only 2 hours from Berlin there is a city of Zielona Góra, and they bought a factory there, and now they are building another one, and they are catering German, French or Italian market from there, enjoying preferential treatments and low costs. Well, I didn't mention the connectivity improvement. For now, Polish airlines are flying directly to New Delhi, and I hope, and they are working hard on that, to expand to southern India as well, and that would further increase our business relations.
This is why should be very suggested to do business with Italy. Again, most of this information were in the video, so I don't want to repeat, but just I want to highlight some of those. Of course, Italy is the 3rd country in the Eurozone in terms of GDP, and the 9th in the world. Is the 2nd European country for manufacturing, with some very top sectors, like, for example, jewelry production, super yacht and fashion industry. About pharma, we already saw something in the video. I want to highlight this one. Italy is the 1st country in the European Union in terms of patents growth rate, and 8th in the world for IP filings. Of course, I think nowadays it's very important to highlight that Italy is the 1st country in the world for standard of population health, and 2nd in the world for longevity. Another thing is about the university. Italy is the 4th country in the European Union and standing in the world for number of universities, and in the top 5 among the European Union countries for number of researchers.
Swiss-Indian relations, and just have to say that our relations economically also started sometime in the end of the 19th century. Then, of course, with independent India, we have a long-standing, excellent relationship started with the Friendship Treaty signed in New Delhi 72 years ago. And it was one of the first treaties that India signed. And since then, the Swiss-Indian relations have developed beautifully. It's a full-fledged partnership which still keeps developing in many fields. Trade and investment represent, of course, a strong pillar of our relationship. And today, India is Switzerland's 4th largest trading partner in Asia and the largest in South Asia. In 2019, our combined trade volume exceeded 20 billion. For Switzerland, India is a significant market also from the FDI perspective as well. And over the last 2 decades, Swiss companies invested close to 5 billion in this country. And I have to say that the real figure is probably higher, much higher, as a number of investments are also channeled through third countries. Currently, there are between 250 and 300 joint ventures and subsidiaries of Swiss companies operating in India, providing over 100,000 direct employments. For the last 30 years, Pune, in fact, has been a favored location for Swiss investments. Today, there are around 40 Swiss companies from diverse sectors such as automotive, textile, packaging, industrial equipment, and precision instruments operating plants in Pune. These companies currently expand very well, increase their investments to enhance local manufacturing, but also their development capacities.
One is history. If you see, every country has had a long historical basis in their own country and their relationships with us in India. That history brings in a great sense of comfort, great sense of respect, and great sense of trust that we know what can happen, because in 50, 60 years ago or 20 years ago, these things happened and there is a history to fall back on. I think that's one of the things that we in India also have amongst ourselves, is we know we have a great history. And if you see from Ethiopia, we learned the history of the culture and the coffee, and then you kind of realize how that becomes so very important as a part of their internal cultural strength. Out of the history comes people and people relationships. Every person that we've heard over here on the stage have talked about the strength and the relationships of that strength to be transferred across the countries and across each other in that sense, and within their own markets as well. Education, enhancing the value, enhancing the strength of developing those kind of knowledge base, and extending the knowledge through newer and newer research, newer and newer applications, newer and newer opportunities that are coming in that sense, is what we see and we learn from all the talks and presentations that we have. That creates a certain amount of attitude, and that attitude becomes very important. I mean, we heard people come and say, so what if there's some difficulty? We'll figure it out. We'll find a solution. The positivity, the positivism, and the ability to also identify that if this goes wrong, fine. We can find a solution. We can find an opportunity out of that. That creates, and I want to borrow a word that you said, interoperability. How do you work together in finding those kind of solutions and finding, helping each other to achieve a goal? The issue that we all face out of all of that is each country wants to export, even India wants to export. Each country wants to develop their own GDP growth in their own country, so does India. So this is, it looks like there could be a contrarian structure out of that, but that's not true. I think we've had many examples in which, for example, from Thuringia, we got an example about using India as a base for developing technology and R&D, because India, after all, is a very easy place to explore and develop new technologies. Any technology developed anywhere in the world would probably cost around 10 times more than what it would cost to develop in India. And if it is successful in India with the diversity of markets that we have and people that we have, you'll be probably more successful in anywhere in the world. And if it fails, the cost of failure is so much lower. So you have an economic advantage of bringing in the development aspects into India and take on the opportunities not just in India, because India does offer a massive market as well, but take that into other parts of the world. Africa is a very, very great base for us to take these technologies and develop them into not just India, but the other parts of the world. So those opportunity explorations, combination between the other parts of the world and in India, play a phenomenal role and gives growth opportunities for both the partners. And that's what it is. That both the partner concept of being, again using a word of interoperability, creates a sustainability, a sustenance. If I'm looking at things only for myself and the other person is looking only for him or herself, that's not going to be sustainable on a long-term basis. But if it's going to help both, there's a greater chance for it to be effective and successful for a longer period. And that's what we've learned in all the talks that we've had over here. There are new opportunities, a new frame of references which are coming in. There is a changing environment, there's a changing environment which is going on. The climate change is one of the elements which are there. The trade structures and the trade balances which are there are also changing. There's a lot more people travel. There's a lot more people interaction which is going on right now. I mean, if you go back 50 years from now, the number of people who are traveling across the world was so much lower than what we have today. Airline, we've been talking about the airlines flying a larger number of aircrafts across and larger size aircrafts from all over the world. There are flip side to that also, like the coronavirus, it transfers across the world at such a high speed. But look at it from a different point of view. It also gives us an indication that if something is successful in one part of the world, it can transfer and transport itself from one place to the other in such a short time that your scalability and your sustainability, whatever you do, could beat even the coronavirus transformation, as what I would look at. So what do we get in all of this, and how do we move forward in all of that? And I think this is something which would be applicable for all of us. There are 3 steps. Darshan, I'm using Hindi words out of that. Observation. Gyan, which is knowledge. Learning from that observation. And charitra, or implementation. In that order, you observe, you get knowledge, analysis and knowledge, and then you implement. If we follow this path, anything in this world, anything over here is going to be successful. Thank you so much. Thank you.